Alright, ladies and gents, welcome to the first episode I will be narrating. I can't guarantee that I will be present for every episode, but I look forward to the chance to be heard more often. So without further ado, let's get into it. What we have before us today is a faux fireplace. Not an inexpensive item, with the flat ones on the low end of the hundreds, and the ones with depth ranging from the mid-hundreds to mid-thousands. This particular model I cannot place exactly, but seeing it has depth to it, I'm going to place it on the higher end of the price range. Before Frost scraps this lovely piece of metal, allow me to tell you it is mostly steel, but seeing it has an electrical cord, copper is definitely present, though the large amount of steel makes it worthy scrap by itself. We may be in for a few surprises. So with that out of the way, let's let Frost do his thing. To start with, when scrapping anything with glass, take immediate caution. Though there are different types of glass, it is often difficult to determine whether you are dealing with shatter-resistant glass or glass that is easily broken, even though this is what I consider a situation for a more durable type of glass. There are many reasons to not assume this glass is of that variety. It is oftentimes useful to keep a small container to keep screws in when taking things apart. As you will see in the end of the video, screws can become a nuisance if neglected. And here is our first surprise. The silver object is actually a copper-bearing motor, as you will see later in the video. This is the same copper-bearing motor that is found in most microwaves and small cooling fans usually found in appliances. Though they differ from the black variety, they are common enough to note that they are more commonly found to be copper in nature. Though they are spun around a piece of steel, an angle grinder with a cutting wheel will make short work of it. The wire in this particular piece of scrap is either coated copper or aluminum. For the sake of time, Frost will simply scrap it as wire. Another thing to note pertaining to the style of scrapping Frost uses is, when it comes to wire, if it comes off a circuit board, he will generally place it in a scrap wire container. But if it is wire that plugs into the wall within range of a 60/40 grade, Frost will place this in a separate container to be stripped later. I'm sure Frost will explain this later, but for now a simple observation will be made. Notice how the glass is placed on a flat surface. Avoid putting it on uneven surface at any point of the scrapping process, as stepping on it at any point is very probable. I believe he even finds a more suitable place for it, as cleaning broken glass is not something any scrapper wants to have to do. Oddly enough, when scrapping it is very common to find material for DIYs. So if you are the artist nature, be on the lookout for material that would be suitable for other projects, as there are many. As I stated before, use extreme caution when dealing with glass, as it is easily broken and not easily cleaned. Light bulbs are another thing to be wary of, especially if you're the type that likes to throw things around. I'm sure frost has broke a few light bulbs unexpectedly. Here he takes the time to dispose of them before they become an issue. Unsure of the material, Frost places this material aside to be checked later. The easiest way to determine what type of metal you're working with is a magnet. If still unsure, an angle grinder will solve all mysteries surrounding the material, though this will be delved into in another episode. Obviously, no Michael Jordan. Frost has decided to save time and consider this small piece of scrap steel. This is not considered a good technique, but considering the source, it is probably the wisest choice. Sometimes an angle grinder can remove nuts and screws faster than any other tools available. This may be one of those times. Also, a trick to remember is grinding a nut in half is usually faster than cutting parallel to the surface of the head. Depending on ease of access, you may want to consider this option. This circuit board has a small transistor on it. Again, an angle grinder with a cutting wheel will make short of this. At a later time. This material was determined to be steel in nature. As I stated before, all of the colored wire will be turned it as it is. However, the longer black wire will be stripped and turned in as number 2 copper. Also, wires are a good source of brass. Though small in nature, it is easily acquired if you clean it as you find it. I believe even Frost has a 5-gallon bucket of plugs he has not yet cleaned, though experience may have brought him to the point of cleaning the brass off the plug as he comes across it, finding it disheartening to see so much dirty brass in one place. I do not believe he plans on adding too much more to it. Well, there you have it, folks. A fully scrapped faux fireplace. As you saw, most of it was steel, easily acquired in large sheets with a few smaller pieces to boot. There was also a bit of wire scrap, with a copper and brass-bearing wire as the icing on the cake. There was one copper-bearing motor, which is easily cleaned, and one motor that was simply scrapped as steel due to its size. There was a bit of cast aluminum on the copper-bearing motor with a bit of brass on the inside. If you are familiar with these type of motors, often found in microwaves, then you will know the piece of brass I speak of, though this may be something Frost explains in the future. I hope you enjoyed the video. As to date, this is the most in-depth breakdown Frost has undertaken and plans to keep this style when doing other breakdowns. I believe a KitchenAid grill is coming up in the near future as research is still being done. The finished product is to be released soon. Thank you all for spending time with Frost and me, and do come back for more installments. Ciao.